Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaming on Caffeine. My name is Isaac and we are back playing some FTB Infinity for episode 23. Now today what I want to start working on is some applied Energistics 2 Autocrafting. And there is a reason why I want to get into autocrafting, and I'm going to explain that right about now. We're going to backtrack just a little bit and kind of walk you through my thought process for ending up at autocrafting. So, our quarry has finished. If we go outside and right-click on our ender quarry out here, we will see that the quarry has finished. It's dug up all of the blocks and replaced every single block down here that's not dirt with dirt, and pulled it all out, stuck it in this chest. The ores have gone and been processed, all the junk's been destroyed, and everything else is left here. So we can go ahead and pretty much just grab all this, spacebar and left-click, by the way, to pull out pretty much everything into the from your chest into your inventory, or at least as much as you can carry, and we can go ahead and stick this right into our AE system. Now, we could, if we really wanted to, be out of space, which we are. Oh, wow, okay, we're out of space in the AE system. That's not good. We're going to make another cell in a second, but we could just go ahead and move this quarry, stick it down like 20 blocks over, and go again. But that's not what I want to do. I don't want to have my quarry in the overworld for all this time, because the next quarry that I want to set up, I want it to be massive, like huge, like even minimum 100 by 100, maybe even going on 1,000 by 1,000. We want a huge quarry for the next one. And in order to do that, I really don't want it here in the overworld. I don't want a massive set of fences or a massive quarry digging away in the overworld. I still want to be able to find stuff. I still want to be able to explore. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to put it in a different dimension. But that's not really the main thing. The main thing is that I want a massive quarry and I want it to run fast. And in order for it to run fast, we have to stick speed upgrades on this thing. And once you start putting speed upgrades on that quarry, it drains power like it is nobody's business. Like that power will go like that. It will just disappear. Now, one solution to the power problem we have could be the big reactor. We could really easily just grab some more of this reactor casing because we've got a ton of charcoal and a ton of iron. It would be really easy to do. We could just bump this out on either side, make it a bit bigger, and it would produce like twice as much power, which would help us a ton. But that's boring. Who wants to do that? Who wants to do the easy way? Nope, we are going to do the hardest thing possible. Not really the hardest, but we're going to do it a more interesting way. In my opinion, we are going to use some BiblioCraft 2 power, use a different method than the redneck cables to turn it from EU to RF, and then we're going to store it in some pretty funky looking stuff, if you ask me, and then we're going to use that to power our quarry. And the reason why we are now jumping back to applied Energistics autocrafting is because the way I'm going to make the power using BiblioCraft 2 is with the Geothermal Generators. We have an unlimited, almost unlimited with an asterisk, source of lava, and we're not really using it for anything. It's making some obsidian every now and again, but for the most part, it's just sitting here. It's getting bored. I'm going to go ahead and use most of this lava to power our Geothermal Generators, which we are then going to turn into redstone flux, and then we're going to use it to power our quarry. Now, again, the reason why we are using the autocrafting is because I really don't feel like making a ton of BiblioCraft Geothermal Generators, and basically everything that we're going to set up probably next episode is just a lot of the same machines over and over and over again, and when that happens, I don't like to craft here. I don't like to stand here and craft the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Instead, I'll have applied Energistics to it for me, because that is a much nicer way to go about it. So, what I've done since the end of last episode, in preparation for this episode, is I've gone ahead and made 2 more metal formers over here. I've put the canning machine away for the time being, because we're not really going to use that. What we are going to do is autocraft some stuff, A, with these metal formers, and B, just general autocrafting recipes. But before we get into that, we should probably go ahead and get ourselves another 1K storage cell for our AE system. Something like this. Now, I did go ahead and make quite a few more logic processors. However, I'm pretty sure I need all of them. So this might break things, and I guess we'll find out. Do we have what it takes to make this? I think we do. Nice, we'll take that, throw it in there, and that should keep us going for a little while longer. At some point in the future, we'll go ahead and upgrade that we'll stick like a 4K or a 16K, or maybe even a 64K, and even higher. They do more and more and more. There's like loads of them. The extra cells mod, for those who don't know, adds like 128x, 256k, sorry, not x, 256k, and I believe like up to a 16 million K storage disk, which can hold a ton of stuff. But anyway, let's go ahead and just pull the last out of here, and we can get started with some autocrafting. So, let's close this up, And again, you can use the same system in here. You can just go spacebar and left click, and it will go ahead and just dump everything in that section of your inventory into the AE system, and we'll throw all those in. Now, to get started with autocrafting, we're going to need a couple of things. The first thing that we are going to need is a CPU. Now, I just type in 1K and get rid of it and type it again. That's fine. We need this thing up here, the 1K crafting storage. This thing is fairly easy to make. It's another one of these Emmy storage components, combined with a crafting unit, which is somewhat easy to make if you happen to have the calculation processors, which we actually don't happen to have. Do we have any pure Certus quartz? We don't. Oh, come on. Come on, the one thing I forgot to make before the episode started. Can we make this? Drop Certus quartz seed made from Certus quartz dust into sand. Okay. Let's see. Do we have any Certus quartz dust? I think we do. Let's just quickly make some. Actually, I think I made some more. Yes, I did. Nice. Okay, look, I was a little bit prepared. Let's take that, combine it with some sand, get ourselves a couple of seeds, and then this thing should make pretty quick work of them, because we do have 2 of these growth accelerators, so we'll leave those to work right now. We don't need the crafting unit right away. We only need it right at the end. So I'll let that do its thing, work away, and hopefully, when we come back to it, it should be good. So what we're actually going to need for the metal formers, we'll start with the metal formers, because if we go ahead and look at the recipe for a geothermal generator, it requires a couple of things. Glass is fairly easy. We can automate glass fairly easily, and plus we can also just keep a bunch of glass in our AE system. That's fine. The harder stuff, like the empty cells, require the metal former to be on extruding mode, and we have to input a tin plate, and then it will send back an empty cell. So we have to be able to tell our AE system that if it sends one tin plate to say, we'll make this one rolling, we'll make this one extruding, and this one can be cutting. That's fine. We need 1 for each, which is why I made 3. And basically, we need to be able to tell this AE system that if it sends 1 tin plate, if it sends 1 piece of tin, a tin ingot, to this machine, it will get back a tin plate. It can then, we need to teach it then to send that tin plate from the AE system back over here to extruding, and then it will get back the 3 empty cells, and then we also need to teach it to make everything else. And how we're going to do that? We're going to do that with interfaces. So, Emmy interfaces, I believe, is something we made before. We have one, I think. Do we have one? Oh, maybe we don't. Okay, maybe these are new. Emmy interfaces are fairly easy to make if you have a couple of logic processors around. I'm probably going to have to go ahead and just type in pretty much just interface, like so. This thing, like I said, fairly easy, and we're going to go ahead and make a few of these after we make a few of those. And a few of... Oh, what are we missing? No, we just need nether quartz. Oh, we're missing nether quartz. How are these doing? They are on 33%. Okay, I'm going to go to the nether, guys. I'm going to get some nether quartz. Hopefully, when we come back, they might be a bit closer to done, and I'll be back in a second. All right, let's try this again. We'll throw some nether quartz in. That gets us the annihilation core. I'm going to make 2 of these, and suddenly we're all out of these logic processors, which is not good, because I do need at least 1 more, because we do need that extra logic processor, that extra interface. Because if we go ahead and do something like this, we can get ourselves 2. We need at least 3 for these 3 metal formers over here, and they're probably going to need at least 1 more for something like the pulverizer later on down the line, so we can go ahead and make one of these real quick. I did want to go ahead and make all of these off camera, because these are kind of tedious to make in bulk. But we do have more redstone now, which is nice. We were kind of running low until I pulled in all the stuff from the quarry. But yeah, we kind of just got to wait for this thing to finish. I don't think they will have advanced much, because we don't have a chunk loader down. And therefore, I don't think that they will still have been working whilst we're in the nether. So a bit of a pain, but that's fine. We'll take you. We'll throw in the gold. That should get us a processor? I still haven't learned the names. A circuit. Okay, I still haven't learned the names of the new items in Applied Energistics 2. If we throw those in there, that will get us the last logic processor that we need, which will allow us to make another one of these formation cores. Like so. And then we can go ahead and make ourselves 2 more Emmy interfaces like that, and we can start to get some work done. So, what we're going to do is we're going to put 3 of these on top of here, like so. And I don't want that to connect, but I don't really think there's anything I can do about it. And that... no, I really don't want that to connect. Ooh, we're going to have to rewire that, because what's going to happen, if I leave that there and hook it up to the Emmy system, it's going to start pumping charcoal into the Emmy system, which is not what we want at all. So instead... and if I put it down here, it's going to connect to the flipping thing. Oh, okay, what we can do... Okay, quick tip here for those who didn't know. If you have covers lying around, you can put covers and pipes within the same block. So if we put that down again, and then just stick a cover there. There we go. Okay, problem solved. crisis averted. And now all we have to do is hook at least one of these up to the AE system, and the other two should connect via that one. So if we go ahead and just dig down a little bit and kind of dig across, we should come across our Emmy sort of cable line, which I know is around here somewhere. There it is. And now we need to hook that up with Emmy Cables. Now, I'm going to do this a little bit differently to the way I've done it previously, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. First things first, we are going to have to make a couple more normal Emmy cables, or Emmy glass fiber. Are they called like glass fiber conduits now? I have no idea. They keep changing the name. Emmy glass cable dash fluix. Okay, that's the new name, apparently. This is why I made some more Certus quartz. We can go ahead and make a few more of those. And then we should be able to do something like this. I'll take 3 lots like that, which I think should be more than enough. And we're just going to go ahead and pull around like this. It doesn't matter that the fluid conduits are connecting. They're not going to do anything. And then what I'm going to do, as soon as we get... Can I... No, that's the wrong place. Come on now. I didn't want it there. I wanted it there, like that. Beautiful. What I'm going to do is, instead of having these conduits come all the way up, because when we try and cover these up, they end up looking like that, and which I don't like. Instead, what we're going to use is a pretty nifty little item from Ender.io, which is the Ender.io Emmy Conduit. So if I go ahead and type in conduit, much like the energy conduits that we're using around our base, the Emmy Conduit is a conduit that pretty much works in the same way as a normal conduit. They're a bit buggy, so warning when using these. I think if I put this down, it's probably going to break that one beneath it. Oh, it's fixed a bit. Okay, but this thing basically acts as an Emmy Conduit, but you can cover it up, and I think if we're using a decent new version of Chisel, it should connect the textures nicely when we work on covering this up, which we will do maybe later this episode, maybe next episode. But for now, these should all be connected to the AE system. Should. I don't think they all need their individual cabling. They should just connect to each other, which means we should now be able to use them. So, one thing I really should have done before we go ahead and set those up is throw the ejector upgrades on. I went ahead and made 3 more of these between episodes. It's okay, we haven't really done anything with those yet. So I'm going to go ahead and shift right-click onto the top with all these, and then we're going to go ahead and put one of these in each. So these things are going to automatically input back into the Emmy interface. So what's going to happen is, we're going to teach the system, hey, if you go ahead and send, say, 1 iron ingot to this machine that this interface is attached to, it will give you back an iron plate, which is exactly what it's going to do, because it's going to take the iron there, it's going to form it using the metal former's powers of awesomeness, and then it's going to automatically eject it back up into the interface, send it through the pipes, and end up back in the Emmy interface. And if we do that with enough stuff, we have autocrafting. That's kind of autocrafting with machines in a nutshell. We can also set up other things that allow it to just autocraft general recipes that don't require machines, and we'll get onto that as soon as this guy down here is done. Oh, which he is. Nice. Okay, so we'll take those. But first of all, we need to work on these. I'm going to set these up, and then we'll come back and set the other ones up, because I don't want to mix things up too much. But what we're going to need now is another terminal, of all things. So right now we are using a crafting terminal. We need a pattern encoding terminal, which is also known as a pattern terminal, not a pattern encoding terminal. This is made using an Emmy crafting terminal. We made one of these before. A crafting terminal is actually what we're using right now, and an engineering process, which is the diamond version of the logic process, I guess. And we're going to set this thing up right about here, like that. Very similar interface. We can still access all of our stuff, but now we have this little section here, the pattern terminal, which is very, very important. And for that, we are going to need some patterns, which look a little bit like this. Require some pure Certus quartz. I don't think they require pure. I think they require normal. So instead of wasting our pure Certus quartz, I'm instead going to waste this stuff and get ourselves a few of these. I just went ahead and wasted one, didn't I? Certus quartz. I'm also going to go ahead and pulverize some more of this up, because we are definitely going to need more than like 3 of these patterns. So let's go ahead and actually put normal Certus quartz in there. Like so. Take a few more of those out, or 1 more of those out, and now I can show you how this works. So what we're going to do is there's 2 modes. There is the crafting pattern and the processing pattern. If you're using a machine, you need to be on the processing pattern. If you're not using a machine, it's just a general crafting recipe that you want to teach your applied energistics system to do. For example, turning wood into planks, you would leave it on crafting, but we're going to leave it on pattern, and we're going to teach it the very basics, that an iron ingot like this will equal a iron plate, like this. And then we're going to stick a pattern up here, and we're going to click encode. So now we are telling the system what this does. We're going to put it into this one, like this, and then now we should be able to do that. However, we need one more thing, because if I go in here now, actually, I type in plate, you'll see it says craft. Because we have all of them, there's none left, it says craft. And it knows how to craft one, but if I click next, you'll see it says no crafting CPUs are available, and it requires 27 bytes of storage in order to sort of like buffer it for the machine. And in order to make that work, we need a crafting CPU, which is what I was trying to make earlier, the crafting CPU, which is this guy over here. So we need to make a few more of those. I'm gonna go do that, guys, real quick, because it's gonna be a bit of a ball watching me do this for like 10 minutes. I'm gonna make some more of these calculator processors, and I'll be back in a second. And once we got both of those, we should be able to go ahead and fill in the final piece of the puzzle and get ourselves this guy here, the crafting unit, if we had some stuff, which we don't have. We need another logic processor. Ah, come on. Come on. Work with me here. We need to automate this because, my gosh, this is really slow. This is also our last piece of silicon, so we also need to go ahead and get some more of that real quick as well. Hopefully this won't take us too long. Let's throw the logic in and the gold, not the calculation. I need the logic. Press. Let's take you, throw that in with the gold. That will make that. Whilst that's doing that, let's make ourselves another set of Fluix cables, and then we are pretty much good to go, right? Yeah, I think we're almost there. We just need this logic processor, and then we will be good. So logic processor, silicon, and redstone gets us the logic processor, and then we will be good to go. Come on, thank you very much. Okay. Boom. Boom. And boom. Nice. And I'm going to, for now, stick this just here, like that. So now, if I was to go ahead and, again, type in plate and click craft 1, and then next, I'll start, you'll see that this thing is automatically on. The AE system knows to send the iron to this metal former, and once it's finished, it's going to eject upwards into the interface again, and send it back to the Emmy system. If we can have a look and type in plate, look at that. It's done it. Beautiful. So, all we need to do now is type in Geothermal Generator, and we have to teach it all of these recipes. So, for example, we need to teach it the tin plate thing. We can do that, and this one, it does work with multi-steps. It's kind of smart. It knows what it can and can't make. So we could teach it that tin equals tin plates. If we grab our hammer real quick, we do have to have the item, unfortunately, so you do have to have the item on you like this in order to teach you how to autocraft it, like so. That's something you didn't have in previous versions, and then we can kind of teach it that this equals 3 in the metal former. Do be aware of how it works with numbers. If it makes 3, tell it makes 3. Otherwise, your AE system will get confused. If you ask for like 10, it'll make like 30. So just bear that in mind. That should have automatically sent that back if we type in cell. Yeah, type in cell and stick that right about there in code, and we put this one in here. We can now, even though we have no tin plates in our system, we can go ahead and craft ourselves some cells after we After we can go ahead and just craft one of those, start, and what it's going to do is it's going to start by making the tin plate in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it into there, and we'll get ourselves the cells back. Nice. So that's how that's going to work. What I'll probably do between this episode and next is fill in all the rest of the blanks with this thing, because that's how we're going to... I'm not going to stand here right now and do all of this, like teach you how to make iron plates, which is another hammer and things and stuff like this. It's fairly easy. It's mostly just iron plates, to be fair. But some of the recipes, like the furnace, don't go in here. That's not where they go. They need to go elsewhere. They need to go in what's known as a molecular assembler. Molecular assembler. This guy over here. And now I'm realizing that I need even more of these logic processors. So I'm going to go ahead again, cut away, make some more logic processors, and I'll be back in a second to craft the molecular assembler and show you how this guy works. And a little tinkering around later, and we get ourselves the molecular assembler. Cool. So, what this thing does is it kind of acts like an auto-crafter in the traditional sense. So, if we were to go ahead and put this down, say here, for example, to start with, and basically that is wrong. We need to move that over by at least 1, like this, because like everything else, this does require an interface. It's kind of its own machine, and basically all we need to do now, for instance, if we want to make the recipe for, let's say, the furnace during the geothermal generator, we would need to make another pattern real quick, which I think we can now do. I did just go ahead and make some more glass, so we can go ahead and make at least 1 more of those, which is fine, and throw that in there and teach it now how to make a furnace. Now, remember, we got to turn back to crafting mode. It automatically detects the crafting recipe, and now we just click encode pattern, take this out, throw it into this interface, and basically it treats this like a crafting table that works automatically. It sends all the stuff it needs to here, then into here, this crafts it up, sends it back, and everything is good. So, if I was to type in furnace and click next, and start. You should see it appear in there real quick before it ends up instantly back in here. So you can see it is pretty flippin' fast, which is really nice. And this is how we're going to do all of our normal crafting that is not done in machines, like with the Geothermal Generator, when we're combining all the parts together at the very end. That will be done in the molecular assembler, but that's kind of the basics of auto-crafting some stuff in Applied Energistics. Now, the one more thing that I kind of want to do before we wrap up here, apart from tell you about the channel system, because bear in mind, we do now have this, what drive, because we have the, remember, like I said, each side of the Emmy controller can support up to 8 channels. That was kind of a lie. People did call me out on that in the comment section. It can hold up to 32, but with the cables that we're currently using, it can hold up to 8. So it has one here in the form of the Emmy drive. It then has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 things currently attached to our AE system. We can add one more to this one line before it breaks. Now, of course, this top line only has 2 things, and this back line only has 1, so we still do have plenty of channels open, and we can even add more controllers next to each other. We can make a bigger multi-block if we want to add even more channels, so we're not really restrained in any way, but we are restrained on how long we can continue this one line for. But that's just a quick note about auto-crafting. The next, about Applied Energistics, sorry. The last thing that I want to talk about is this. I was talking about covering this up, and with Ender.io, it's actually fairly easy to do. I say fairly easy because it's not really all that easy. It's somewhat easy. The first thing that we are going to need is a painting machine, which is something that you might be looking at and thinking, why in the world are we making a painting machine, Isaac? That sounds ridiculous. Well, it's not that ridiculous. It's actually kind of really useful. And to make it, we're going to need a bunch of this, I think it's a conductive steel, electric steel, sorry, which requires some iron, some silicon, and some coal dust, which is what I was going for there. We need some coal. Let's go ahead and smelt up, pulverize up even about 5 of those. I'm going to do it in the pulverizer because the macerator is currently set to auto-eject. So we'll take 5 of those, and then we'll combine those up with some silicon and some iron in the alloy smelter, and we should be good to go. So let's start putting those in there. You go in there, you go in there. I put the SeNtiMeL over here for a second because we needed more silicon. This is not where it's going to stay. Don't worry, I will move it at some point and make it look a little bit nicer. But we can go ahead and throw you in there and take the rest of those. I think we need one more. No, we don't. We only need 5. We don't need any more. No, we need the 1. That's fine. And while it's doing that, we can go ahead and craft up the machine chassis, which we almost have all the stuff for. But that's fine. This thing is fairly easy to make. We can go ahead and do that. Take you. And then we're pretty much done, apart from the electric steel, which should be pretty quick now that we have the double layer capacitor in there. And it shouldn't take all that long. And then what the painting machine allows us to do is it allows us to paint facades, which are used to cover stuff up. And basically, you pick a block that you want it to look like, you put the facade in one slot, and then it will paint it the color of the block you chose. We're going to choose this specific cobblestone from Chisel, and like I said earlier, if we're using a new enough version of Chisel, which I have no idea if we are, I'm just kind of hoping that we are, then it will go ahead and like nicely connect up, which will be absolutely lovely. And I might end up doing it with this one and any other sort of like little bits and bats, so maybe that one over there on the floor as well eventually. So we'll throw you there, and we got ourselves a painting machine. Nice. And again, for the time being, I'm just going to go ahead and put it here where the SeNtiMeL is. Thank you very much. You've served your purpose. Time for the reign of the painting machine. Look at this thing. Boom. Filling up with power. We need to get some facades. Facades are really easy to make. If we just go ahead and type in facade into NEI, like so, click on it, shift left click, we get this thing here. We only need 2, but you can make as many as you want. It's just made out of conduit binder, like a lot of the conduit based stuff in Ender.io. And then of course we need the piece of cobblestone that looks like what we were going to paint it like. And all we have to do then is come over into here. It doesn't use up any of the cobblestone, so you can just go ahead and just tap it. Actually, it does use up the 1. It doesn't use it up. You can take it back after it's done. And then if we stick the facades in there, it's going to go ahead and paint them. Now, much like all the other machines, you can put a capacitor in here to speed it up. But to be fair, we're probably, maybe, possibly not going to be using it all that much. So we should be fine and not upgrading it. And all we're going to do with this is just stick it on the facade. Stick it on the conduits that are lying around. So just right click here and here, and oh my gosh, look at that. It looks so much better. It looks so much beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love it. What I'm going to do it. I'm going to fix this one up down here. Let's see. We'll take you. Do we have any more of this one? We do. I'm not quite sure how this one's going to work out. I'm hoping it's just going to look awesome. Let's see. We'll throw you in and you in. We are going to need to throw in, replace one of the conduits down here, but that should be fine if we just get rid of you and replace you with one of these. There's a problem in mod source where if you put one of those down, it breaks the ones either side of it. Not quite sure if that's just a specific problem to mod source or what, but it seems to have been fixed in this mod pack, and it seems to be working just fine. So feel free to go ahead and use these conduits, but also bear in mind they might break. So don't feel free. Don't blame me if it breaks. And then we can just right-click. Oh, look at that. It looks so much nicer. Everything in the world just got so much better. I'm going to make one more. I'm going to make one more here really quick just to fill that in. And the base, again, will look beautiful. And the world will be such a better place to live in. Let's get rid of you. And let's replace you, again, with our last conduit here. Also, we can get rid of that one. Boom. Oh, thank you. Endo.io, you are now officially the best for conduit hiding. Boom. Look at that. Look at that. Our base, well, I was going to say no longer looks disgusting. If we do this, now it does. Now it looks a lot nicer. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely beautiful. And with that, guys, I'm going to end the episode there. It has been a bit of a short one. Next episode is probably going to be like a really long one. We're going to do a bunch of stuff. We're going to set up so many things. It's not even real. We're going to make a bunch of power using industrial craft. We're going to transfer it to Redstone Flux using mods already installed, by the way. I know a lot of people have been telling me to install the Power Converters mod. I don't really like installing different mods because it makes the world downloads complex, and it makes you guys playing along with me a bit more complex as well. Also, people who have been telling me to get into Draconic Evolution, or Draconic Evolution, I'm not quite sure. I will do, don't worry. It's just a very, very late game mod. There have been so many people telling me to go ahead and play with Draconic Evolution. But if you have a look at, say, the Taconic Chest, which is something I've had recommended to me, it requires 4 Draconium ingots here, as well as 4 more here, and each of these Draconium ingots require a Draconium blend, which is made of Draconium dust. We have 1 Draconium dust from the quarry that we ran. 1. And I believe you have to go to the end in order to get most of it. So we will be going there. I am making it a priority because the armor from Draconic Evolution is absolutely fantastic. So we will be doing that at some point, hopefully in the near future. But it is pretty late game stuff. So it might not be like in the next few episodes. But do expect it at some point. I do know it exists. You can stop reminding me. But do feel free to leave a comment down below. On your way down there, please hit that like button if you did enjoy the video. And I will see you guys next time.